Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions, and another edition of Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jayne, a couple's view of life and times, and that's certainly what we have right now. And oftentimes on our little ditty, we like to split up the not sublime and ridiculous, but the regular things that we face as challenges in our lives, our business lives, our work lives. And then we'd like to have a little fun, which is a little more challenging these days as we try to find new and creative ways, virtual and otherwise, to not just pass the time, but use the time usefully, with fun, with smiles, and not just sit around and be grumpy all the time and be challenged by the fact that we have to stay inside and not go to the store and not go to the restaurant. Thankfully, I get to do the store part a lot because the other half of this wonderful podcast doesn't really like to, and she's the wise one who doesn't want to get anywhere near people ever. So I get to do that. We'll split it up again. We got some fun things to talk about as people get more and more creative. Virtual cocktail parties, virtual Easter gatherings, and we'll talk a little bit about the Queen of England, too. All that coming up right here on Reconcilable Differences. It's part of our Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday presented by Cinematic Visions. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery, wishing you well while you stay safe during this time of uncertainty. Due to the recent news, you won't be able to get the same in-restaurant experience at the 23rd Street Brewery that you've come to expect over the past 16 years. But you can get the same delicious items prepared with the highest level of staff cleanliness available for carryout and delivery through our partners Eat Street. You can also still enjoy our craft beers and crowlers for to-go service. So remember, stay safe, and together we will all get through this time of uncertainty.
We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that. And moving on in age, as we all are, what do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. If they just contact me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back to Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jayne. It's our couple's view of life, and our lives are similar, very similar in one way. We are both small business owners, and right now it's obviously there's some opportunities, there's some challenges. We won't know yet what it looks like on the other side when we get past this type of thing. And Jayne, you are the owner and CEO and Grand Poobah of Venice Communications, and I know today, for instance, you hosted a webinar, and it was something that you worked very hard at, had a lot of great attendance of, and I think obviously you felt it went well, but what was the creative idea behind that and just another thing that we're trying to do these days?
Well, it was a great opportunity that the Downtown Chamber of Kansas City let me be a part of, and we focused on authentic brand leadership during a crisis like this. And it was really focused on what do you do when you're all in crisis, and even in a personal crisis when you're dealing with a pandemic like this, but how you still need to focus on the community and how you can give back to build brand equity rather than just focusing on profitability, even though there's a lot of fear there, obviously. But I truly believe, and the data speaks for itself, that the people that focus on how you can give back and think about sustainability rather than profitability and helping your community, those brands will stand the test of time after this is all passed.
Well, the general business landscape can be very complicated right now. In my case, for instance, here at DannyClinkscale.com, the Reasonably Irreverent podcast, I have the yin and the yang of things. People are at home, they're craving entertainment, they're craving information, and so that has only increased my numbers, which are already strong. The other aspect of it is more challenging. My business aspects are often, as yours, built on personal relationships, getting out, having coffees, going to breakfast meetings, things like that, having lunches, going to after-hours type of marketing things. Those things are all basically impossible now. Yes, you can Zoom meeting, you can do that, but it's creating the Zoom meetings, finding the people to actually have them with that creates a big challenge right now.
Well, as I said, I think it's not about let's do a handshake so you can get me business. It's about what can I do for you? How are you hurting? And that's where you build equity with someone right now. A lot of the times right now, I don't think it's time to really be selling your product or service. It's about trying to help people get through this and heal, but also seeing if people really need help. It could be their business needs help. It could be they personally need help. That's how you're going to be remembered. And
I just did, along with Jeremy from Cinematic Visions, is this actual sponsor of this particular segment, as a matter of fact, and we put together a video, and it was a combination of the two things, reminding people that we do indeed have an opportunity to market their products or services, but also that we can help them out in their business, their website, their things like that. So we looked at those particular things and sent out that video to literally hundreds of people, and if they feel like they can be helped by that, or they just will be reminded that DannyClinkscale.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast is there. So just new and creative, different ways to try and keep your awareness, keep your face in front of people, as it were, even though your face is really not in front of people.
Yes, I certainly do miss seeing people's real skin. You can only Zoom for so long. But, we're having fun. As you and I said, we've been finding ways, like today we had a Zoom meeting. I'm trying to have a Zoom party with my aunt and uncle who are in California, who are going to have their 70th wedding anniversary. We originally were going to do this big party in July, but we found an opportunity to use Zoom. And as we did last weekend, we also had an opportunity to do a little Easter celebration with Danny's family and ours coast to coast. And it was quite fun, I have to say.
Right, and we'll talk more about those type of things in part 2 of our the actually more fun aspect of while we're having fun everywhere. We try to have fun in business. We try to have fun in pleasure also. What are you finding the attitude of the people you're talking to, your clients? You've had your business for over 20 years now, and that you build up friends and relationships. Do you find there are some people who this is really getting to, and some people who just see it as a challenge, or are people generally just taking it as it comes in your world?
This was really interesting today, talking to some people during this presentation for authentic brand leadership. I think what's really becoming apparent is we just don't know how other industries, nonprofits are suffering from this and what they have to do to keep their doors open. We heard from a woman from Hope House today, and imagine trying to find hotels where you can house the women who are staying there because their quarters are too close. And so they've been able to work out opportunities for hotels to be a safe haven for them and a safer haven for them so they don't get infected. That's no minor job. And so what's amazing is I'm seeing a lot of resilience in people, and people are also inspired by this in an odd way. Who knew that a world pandemic could create this? People are reinvestigating and reinvigorating their marketing and their thought process and what their values are in their business. Can their business be sustainable after this? And if so, what is that going to look like? I challenge people to think that our business will never be the same. And so the good news is this is an opportunity to reinvent yourself, rethink about how your products or services are going to be seen. Will your products and services be slightly different, or are they already pivoting? And that's what's really cool to see all these businesses making a difference.
On a personal level, we both work out of home offices, and that in the past has meant a combination of being here and being outside. A lot of times during these days, we're often cloistered in our office, per se, for almost the entire day, except when we share a little lunchtime, which we never really did before, so I guess that's a positive thing. But do you find for yourself it's harder, easier? I find that if I'm working constantly at that spot for 5, 6, 7 hours, it seems more like 8, 9, 10 hours. When as before, if I worked in the morning here at this office, I would go to the library, for instance, in the afternoon and do work there. And just that aspect of getting up and getting out was, I think, helped productivity.
Well, that is the curious thing. That's why I find I do need to go out and take a drive sometime or walk the dogs, because I need to get away from my office, meaning my desk and my computer, and those thought processes. I think really the leaders of today, the smart ones, realize that contemplation, the word contemplation, is sometimes when some of the greatest discoveries and ideas come. If you're just sitting at your desk all day doing the busy work and not taking the time to step back and really focus on other things, you don't have those aha moments. So I need those, and I really miss also getting out and having lunch, meetings, all these meetings. You don't realize how many you have, and I didn't realize how social I was. That's the thing. I mean, I love you, Danny, but I also need to see other people.
Well, one thing I find is that, I like, even if it's just for a short period of time, I'm not, I don't meditate. That's not something I do. But I do find that maybe before I take a shower, which sometimes may be in the afternoon by the time it happens, I like to lay down on the bed in my office, and it has a little warm blanket there, and even if I don't doze off or anything, a lot of times you're actually working when you're doing that. You're kind of thinking about ideas, and you can be a little creative in that quiet space, even if it's for just 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, you're very good at hunkering down. I think you're better at this than I am. But I can't say I don't have my moments where, I'm just ready to scream sometimes, because the thing is, you can't just not go to meetings. You really shouldn't be going to the store much. We're in a hotbed right now. All the basic things. I didn't realize how much of a retail bird I was. My retail fix, even if it's just going for toilet paper, it's getting out and being social in a general sense. Do I miss going to the dry cleaners? Yes, I miss going to the dry cleaners. Tammy's a friend.
Right. She is a friend. And actually, you created success this week in actually finding 7 a.m. toilet paper.
Oh, my
for
God.
Our home.
It was so exciting. I went during the geriatric crowd moment.
Thankfully, that's only 50 and over.
Shh. And it was a hoot because there was hardly anybody there. And all the people that were there were all masked, taking very good care of themselves. And they have really wide aisles. So, I felt like that's the thing. How to survive in a retail shop, who knew that we'd have to be thinking about that? It's really overwhelming.
Well, part of the way that you not let it get overwhelming is to have some good times, too, and we'll talk about some of those things that Jayne touched on a little bit, one that she didn't, and even the highest of the highbrow finds ways to have themselves a good time. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up next on Reconcilable Differences on the Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, brought to you by Cinematic Visions.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
My friends at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture are among the most accomplished and trusted clinics in the nation. Only one clinic has been rated in the top 5 in all 3 categories of chiropractic care, acupuncture, and rehabilitation, and that clinic is ASFCA. They have locations in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, and Lee Summit. Doctors Brad and Christina Woodle and their accomplished team of doctors and therapists will treat you like family, for the simplest of injuries to the most complicated conditions to avoid surgery. Whether you are seeking treatment for an injury or just looking to stay healthy and fit, this is the place for you. And it's been the place for me for almost 2 years now. I have been a strenuous daily exerciser for years, and as time goes on, that takes its toll. But regular appointments at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture have helped keep me ticking on, and even as the years pile up, their regular care has allowed me to keep to my regimen and feel great. If you want to feel the same, give them a call or visit them at asfca.com/Danny. They accept all insurances and are open Monday through Saturday, and make sure to mention that Danny Clinkscale recommended Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyClinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Back with Danny and Jayne, we are talking business, we are talking pleasure, and it's time for some pleasure. And one bit of pleasure, which was mostly pleasure, that Jayne and I decided to explore, that she decided to explore, was getting back on the golf course. And Jayne had not played golf for a long, long time, probably 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure when she hung it up. But one of the reasons you did stop was because you did have some level of good play. You were actually a pretty good player when we met. We used to go play golf. You played golf through your whole life up to then. Your dad was an avid golfer, and you loved to go play with him. But you got to a point with your business and everything else that you weren't able to put in very much time on your golf, and it got more frustrating, and you just really decided to stop. Well, with time on our hands sometimes, and with golf courses actually open, and I will take this little aside to say, I don't quite understand the backlash of people against golf. I think people who have thought that golf courses shouldn't be open, that they certainly aren't essential businesses. They are businesses that provide pleasure. There's no question about that. But it's an outdoor activity. Social distancing is extremely easy in golf. They have touch-free golf now. You don't go in the clubhouse. So I think that the people who are sort of railing against this particular thing are probably maybe angry business owners who want their business open and realize that it's not really an essential business. But also I think they're just people who don't like golf. That being said, we did get out on the course. We went over to Painted Hills, and they only had 9 holes open that day, and it was walking only, and there were quite a few people there. And it started off as a lovely day. And one thing that has changed since Jayne started playing golf, or stopped playing golf and now has restarted, is the evolution of the golf bag, which now is a 2-strap golf bag. And I never even used I used to walk all the time, and I never used a 2-strap golf bag. They were just coming into vogue when I actually had to stop walking due to my knee, but walking the golf course. So that was unmastered at this particular time. So much of the round was spent with me carrying both golf bags and or Jayne carrying her very lightweight bag like a baby. But
well, first of all, we need to back up a minute and just remember how Danny goes, I have this old set of golf clubs sitting in the garage, and I'm like, oh, we'll just go out with those. He goes, no. You do not realize we're getting rid of those. So I had to go buy golf clubs for the time. Touchless golf sale was, Play It Again Sports was great. Never touched them, didn't even get a chance to touch the grips. So it was so great to get out with these new clubs. They were wonderful, and yet the bag was a pain in the ass. And the wind started blowing like 90 miles an hour, and when you haven't done it in a really long time. So was really having trouble the first few holes. Then I started getting into it. So it was either crap hole or like, oh, maybe I have some talent still.
I think Jayne is underselling her abilities because actually on consecutive holes, only 5 holes into her return to golf, she putted for par. So long par 5, almost reached it in regulation, almost got on in regulation in a par 3, and then hit the shot of the century over a bunker up a mountain. It was really, I'm like, there's no way that she is getting over this bunker. And then it hoisted it high in the air, and then I think the next hole went completely sideways, and I think that was about the end of our excursion. But I know that you enjoyed it enough that, first of all, we've decided that the cart is going to be the way.
So we may have to wait, unless we get one of those electric carts.
Well, most places do have carts now, but it'll be me in one cart and Jayne in another one. But so you've decided, you had fun, and you've decided you want to do it again, right?
Yeah. I think the thing is, it's such a maddening game, and I have to accept the fact that it's just, it's never going to be all or nothing in this situation. So I had a great time, although the walking was, Painted Hills was more, it was definitely hills.
Right, and it was a hard day to do. Eventually, it was a hard day to be out there. It was warm, but it got really windy, and walking into the wind with 2 golf bags I was dead. I was ready for a beer when I was done. I'll say that.
The thing is, I think what I'm good at, it's like I'm like Dana Carvey in the golf. I've watched it so much, and I've been with my dad so much that I can fake it once in a while. Like, I know how to do a good swing because I see it in my head, but then I have no clue when I do a good swing and I hit a good shot how to replicate that immediately. It's just I don't have muscle memory yet, so you'll have to bear with me.
But you also have the concentration of an artist, and I can see that. That's one thing I can see when I watch you play, is the fact that keeping your head down and paying attention to the golf ball is no problem for you whatsoever. And that is a problem for some golfers, but your level of concentration from other endeavors certainly, I think, carries over to the golf course. But there are other things that are more unusual these days, and one of those, Jayne, is she's the driving engine behind many of these ideas in our home. And about a month ago, I guess, or 3 weeks ago, you cooked up the idea of having a virtual cocktail party, and we hosted a virtual cocktail party on Saturday with 3 couples and my younger daughter, who was in Brooklyn. We all virtually toasted, had whatever drinks we had. I had a couple beers, so I had to get up and take what was not a virtual pee. But it was really fun. And, at the end, we sort of said, hey, let's get together in about a month and do this again. And I said, well, how about tomorrow? I mean, so it really was fun. It was a great idea by you.
Well, I've heard about it. And I thought, I'm losing my mind because I'm very... I just get my energy from people, and we have great friends. We don't get to see them that often anyway. And one of those dear friends of ours, Sue, she's been through a lot with health issues. She's had to deal with, she knows how to, quarantine for, 90 days? She had to be quarantined with her blood issue. So she's teaching us, that this isn't such a bad thing. Who knew that we'd all be in the same boat, at the same time? But the good news is that we can have fun, and that's how you get through this, I think.
And then, well, if that wasn't good enough, on Sunday I awoke to some emails, in an email chain with my family, and the email was circulated by my niece, Erin. And I'm not even sure where she lives, as a matter of fact. I have so many nieces and nephews. But we ended up, the time kept moving. It was a moving target, whatever. But anyway, it ended up eventually on a very busy day for you. You had a lot of business stuff going on. But we did, just before we ate our Easter dinner, which you worked very hard at as well, we settled down at 1 o'clock Central Time, and the Clinkscale clan, on as many as 14 screens in 9 states at one time for about an hour, and we were the first people to actually check out, I think, eventually, because our our turkey was getting dry.
Yes.
But what a fun thing it turned out to be. I was kind of, was trepidatious about the whole thing. And what was really funny in the end was that the whole thing was fun. But here we are in the communications business, you with the public relations firm, me with, and the microphone on our Zoom didn't work. We sounded like Darth Vader, apparently.
Darth Vader, so we didn't speak.
We didn't speak. We just typed. We had to turn our microphone off, which was almost better because there was screen after screen after screen of people catching up and where are you? And like I said, the people were in 9 states. It was fun.
You know what's really good about that is the way you could observe in Zoom in a way you can't when you're in a room when everybody's sort of flailing around, especially with a large family. You had this newborn baby and then your dad who's almost 90 years old. It was really neat because you could see, all these different personalities and how we're, how you are, related. But then you could see people sort of individually in a way that you can't always do when you're all in the same room together. So that was quite interesting. It
was fun, and a lot of us have not seen each other a lot through the years. We live in diverse places. Most of my family lives in Massachusetts, so they see each other fairly often. But between my dad, who has some health issues and his memory isn't the greatest these days, having these eureka moments of that I was actually his son, and other people saying that, my daughter, who's now is 97, 23, people who hadn't seen her in a while, like, oh, look, her mouth is just like Danny's. Not what she was saying, but what she looks like. And so all of that was really fun. But my dad, for better or for worse, that was probably the funniest because he's looking at, first of all, it's technology. He's looking at 14 different screens and, upwards of 20 nieces and nephews and grandchildren and everything else. And the whole thing was just fun.
He just thought we were a really nice-looking couple. That's what I love. Who's that nice-looking couple? That's all I want to say.
It was fun, and I think it was something that, we never would have done, and our family is not the greatest at communicating anyway, and people don't travel out to the Midwest to see it. So when I've visited them, it's been me going there and not seeing these people all that often. And if not for this particular situation, we never would have done this. And it got our family, I think, closer than probably that we've been in years because we don't gather in these big gatherings that often. Well, so that's the virtual, but Jayne and I spend many of our evenings watching Masterpiece Theater and the like. We've gotten more into Netflix and some of this streaming shows and things like that during this coronavirus, but we do watch a lot of PBS and Masterpiece Theater. And that kind of lends itself into something you sent me on the phone the other day where apparently the Queen gets through her day very nicely as she has at least 4 cocktails a day, starting with one before noon.
I love this woman. I love this woman. It's suddenly I feel, like the stamp of approval has been put on when I only have 1 scotch a day. And the Queen's already beat me by 3 drinks. Well, now, wait a minute. That's 6 hours difference. So how do we put that? You know what? I love this. I mean, what is she? How old is she now?
Pushing 100, I think.
My God. I mean, what I love is
if she's not 100.
That's kind of showing her human side, which she doesn't always show. And I can only imagine. I was just in the UK in February before all hell broke loose, and I'm pretty sure my friends who I was staying with had this virus. I mean, so the UK is a very small island with a lot of people,
yep.
And so they're under a lot more pressure to try to stay away from each other, and it's harder there. And so I think even in her palace digs, imagine what it's like. She's got all those servants. I was trying to think, and know this sounds crazy, but for her to be alone, that's asking a lot. And so she's probably found an opportunity to be alone in a way she's never done.
Well,
so good for her.
I don't know who found this out or whether it's 100% true or not, but they described each particular general drink that she has. She had some kind of a vermouth and something else combination before lunch, and then after lunch with her dessert, she has some kind of a dessert drink. Then mid-afternoon, something like a martini, I believe, something like that. Then she'll have a little late in the day nap, and then before bed after a nice bath, champagne.
Oh, my God, I'd be sleeping.
And I think it was just
Martini.
probably in hard time, in a hard time. I've seen a lot of people online or on Twitter or whatever saying that, happy hour moves a little earlier in the day every day, by a few minutes. I think some people are experiencing that particular thing. Let's hope they're doing it in a healthy way. But all you have to know out there, Jayne, and everybody else, is that you have the Queen's approval. And seeing as we also have a corgi, we have a special place in our heart for the Queen, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The Queen has 2 corgis? She used to have
Well,
3.
she had 8 or 9 or 10. Now she's got these dorgies, the Dachshund Corgi. That's like our 2 dogs mixed. Oh, my God.
Ooh.
They're odd. I don't know how many she has left of those. She's kind of been slowly,
weaning away.
Yes.
Weaning
yes.
away. But we have one dog that's very different from the other, and the corgi's wonderful, and that's all I'm going to say as we wrap up another edition of Reconcilable Differences. We hope you enjoy it. We generally will be here every other week or so, and we hope we help you out maybe on the business side, maybe on the personal side in getting through this together. And soon maybe we will be out and about flying kites and doing other things out in the sunshine and
Danny,
waving at each other.
Do you realize one good thing is neither of our dogs started barking during this podcast?
That was pretty good. I think that.
Thank you, Quinny and Charlie.
I gave them relaxing turkey. That must have been what it was. So long for Reconcilable Differences on the Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.